I've purchased this InstallGear Central Locking system to add remote entry key fobs to the truck. This thing got pretty good reviews, and it looks like a nice system. It comes with 2 key fobs, and then it also has 4 actuators. I'm just going to be using 2 of them today. And then also the full wiring harness and the electrical signal brain here. Which this just connects into your 12-volt battery system. Here's the brain unit. You can see that it has a antenna here, and then a bus for the wiring harness, which has more wires than I really need. I'll probably cut a few of the wires off since this is just for a 2-door truck. But nonetheless, it has plenty of options for expansion for 4-door vehicles. It also, if you so desire, you can have it connect to your rear lights to sort of flash the lights, as well as you can have it operate a electronic trunk release. But of course, being a 73 Ford, it doesn't have any of that. So I'll be using about half the wires probably on this, and the rest I'll just be cutting or taping off. Okay, so this is the driver's side actuator. You can see this one has more wires. I believe the reason for this is that when you manually operate the door lock on the driver's side, it'll also send a signal back to unlock or lock the other door. So you just want to make note of how many wires are on the driver's side one and use the one with more wires. You can see here I've attached the lever operation rod here. So the way this basically works is that this piece will move in and out as the key fob is pressed, and then this piece of hardware here attaches to your existing door lock. So this rod can be easily cut to size, and we'll just try to get the right fitment and then attach it to the existing door lock hardware. Move the inner panel here on the door, and I'll just be installing this thing on the inside of this in order to actuate that piece of metal wire there, which connects to the bottom of the manual door lock. So I'll be putting it in on the back side of this metal here, and I just got to kind of figure out the fitment and then attach it to that metal wire, kind of using a separate little lever attachment that is going to come in under there. So one possible challenge with this is that the portion of this piece of metal that comes straight down is very short. So I have to actually attach this thing about there underneath here. So I'm going to have to get in there and somehow figure out how to tighten these screws down with very little clearance space. But I think I can do it. So this clamp was a little too narrow to accommodate the metal part that comes off the door lock. So I'm going to just enlarge the clamp a little bit using this punch. All right, that looks like it'll do it, and now I can get this attached to the door lock. So here's what I'm thinking. It should go something like this, but on the other side. So it'll just attach directly to the sheet metal on the door, and then this will face straight up like that, attaching to that little brass clamp. So I think that'll provide enough clearance. The one trick with this is that you have the window, goes down into this cavity, so it's got to be tight up against the inner wall here in order to make sure that the window clears. So that'll be the challenge, is just making sure that everything fits and that it doesn't interfere with the window operation. I've rolled the window down just so you can see how little really space there is here. So the clearance is about like that. Not a whole lot of space to fit that thing. So by my estimation, this is about how long this bar is going to need to be after all is said and done. The part it connects to is right about there, and I want to have this mounted completely into the sheet metal on the other side here. So I think something like that will be just about right. All right, so I'm just going to hacksaw this part off where I marked it. Okay, perfect. Also a good idea to just file this down a little bit, just so you don't end up cutting yourself on it. Okay. Okay, so there we go. It's about the right length. That piece of hardware is already attached under the lock. Now I just need to thread it in, tighten down those screws, and then figure out how to attach it to the door, which is probably also going to be a little tricky, but I think we can manage. Okay, so it should appear something like that. This piece of metal kind of comes up and bends right here. So I've got it right above the elbow there, kind of off there, and then the actuator is right under there. So now I just got to put a couple screws through where those two holes are, and hopefully that will work. So for this one, there's just no way to get it in straight. I can't get the operating bar to tighten down on the lock without putting it in a different position. So I'm going to bend the bar on this one so that it'll still actuate the lock, but it's going to do it on an area where the lock is bent by about 30 degrees. So I'm just going to basically try to do something like that. I think that'll do it. So for this one, I'm taking a little different approach. I'm attaching it a little lower down, and I'm bending the bar right there. So it should still be fine. It still actuates straight up and down, but it's just on a bent part of the metal. So I think that'll work. Okay, now the fun part, wiring. So I'm just running a dedicated circuit off of this connection point here, and I'll just run this wire through the firewall into the cab. Alright, so I got the positive end wired in. That should be the hard part, going into my head unit here, and then I just need to connect the black wire to any ground point, and then the moment of truth, we will hook it up and make sure it actually actuates the door. Alright, we're just doing a quick test just to make sure all the connections are going to work. So I'm just going to manually connect this with my ground here. And yes, I'm seeing the head unit light up. And there we go. All right, so that's going to work. Now I just need to wire this all in permanently and string the wires through the door. All right, so I've taped off a couple areas that I don't plan to use. I've got a big bundle. Those are for the two back actuators, and then this is the run for the passenger door, and this is the run for the driver's side. So now that those are all nicely contained, I should be able to string everything in. So I decided to mount it kind of to the front of this plastic vent panel. That just seemed like one area that had good access for the wire harness. It's actually mounted upside down, so that's the antenna coming down there. And I think this will be a good location. It's kind of central, so the wire harness will go up into the dashboard area and hopefully be fairly hidden, because there's already just a mess of wires all over the place. So I've removed this vent register in order to gain access to the plug down there. And I also wanted to do this because some of this venting was not properly connected. Like this had come off, so I needed to get in there anyway. And I think I'm going to take this opportunity to kind of clean it up back there, clean up some of the wiring and so forth. Okay, you can see that previously I had speaker wire that just sort of threaded through the door jamb here, but since this is a pretty significant thickness of wire, I'm going to go ahead and drill a hole right here. It's going to go all the way through to this side, and then I will string it through this. Hopefully I can fit it through that. Okay, perfect. I'm also going to add a little grommet. So easiest way to do that is to string it over the wire first, and then we'll get the wire through and then work the grommet in. Well, unfortunately, after many attempts at pulling wires back and forth, I determined that it's just not possible with the InstallGear to do it with the wiring harness that it comes with. So I made this little extension for the driver's side that will give me an extra 12 inches or so. So I just need to put some proper connectors on here, and then this will be my little extension cord, which I've color coded here with some electrical tape. All right, to complete my extension cord, I've just picked up a couple packages of these male and female disconnects, and you can see here what I've done. I've just crimped those onto the ends there, and I'm also in the process of crimping on the female sides. Just be sure that you crimp the narrower gauge side, not the side with the plug. And here it is, all hooked up. I've got my little extension cord here, and I've got it hooked up on both sides, so you can see there it's hooked up on that side. So here's the final installation on the passenger side door. That's where I ended up mounting it. Try to get in there. And here we go. It's locked right now, so I'm going to unlock. Nice. And it works. It also is set up so because the driver's side door has these wires that return the signal, so when I pull the lock up, it unlocks over there, and then when I push it down, it locks. Getting ready to put the door panel back on, I decided to go ahead and put some lubricant on various moving parts. It's always a good idea to do when you have the door panel off. So you can see I've kind of added some lithium spray grease in areas that I couldn't reach very well. And then I've also put some grease onto the window rail. I prefer to use this. It's called Super Lube. This works really well for areas like this where you want it to stay permanently in place. Would definitely recommend that product. You can get it at Harbor Freight. And I also applied some of that onto the, I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's this geared mechanism that drives the window up and down right in there. so I added it to the teeth of those gears, and that really helped a lot with making the window go up and down a lot smoother. It was like really hard to get up and down before, now it's nice and smooth.